Enter CHE, the Community Health Evangelism Strategy, an alternative approach that works effectively in areas where traditional methods of evangelism do not work or are not allowed. The ultimate goal of CHE is to transform entire communities, physically, socially, and spiritually. A foundational principle of CHE is that true health requires more than just good nutrition and disease prevention. We teach community leaders and residents that true health also requires harmony with others, harmony with oneself, and harmony with God. The CHE training team usually begins by helping communities address pressing health problems such as disease, malnutrition, unsafe drinking water. Often we start with what is most dear to almost all communities, the health and welfare of their children. Helping the community address their own felt needs allows the CHE team to build strong relationships with community leaders and residents, and gives them great credibility in the community, which in turn opens people's hearts to the gospel.
In order to fight poverty, Western governments pour millions of dollars in aid into underdeveloped countries each year. Most of it goes into bloated salaries for bureaucrats and into the pockets of corrupt government officials and shysters. The long-term benefit for the world's poor is negligible. In truth, the most important resource for successful long-term development is not more and more money. The key is to develop and empower people. CHE is not an aid program. Its main goal is to motivate and equip community leaders and residents to take the responsibility for improving living conditions in their own community using their own resources. Once a community is equipped and gets the vision for improving their own lives, it is amazing what they can accomplish with the resources they have.
Probably the biggest challenge of starting a CHE program in a community is changing people's mindset from seeing themselves as powerless victims of poverty to seeing themselves as capable, resourceful, and having both the means and power to improve their living conditions. Once people are motivated to move forward, the CHE team guides them in electing a committee who will lead and oversee the development program in their community. This committee evaluates the needs of the community and plans and implements projects to address the most pressing problems. The committee also selects a group of respected community residents to serve as CHE volunteers. These community health evangelists, as they're sometimes called, are the key to reaching the community, teaching and demonstrating basic health lessons to their neighbors, while at the same time sharing with them the good news of Jesus and the new life he offers.
The CHE strategy is successful where other development approaches fail because we recognize that individuals must change their habits, attitudes, and beliefs in order to achieve lasting improvements in living conditions. This change can come only through the gospel and the work of God's Spirit in their lives. Our main emphasis is to empower churches to implement the CHE strategy. Most churches in the CIS have a vision for evangelism and missions, but find themselves frustrated by government restrictions and public apathy towards traditional evangelistic approaches. CHE takes longer than traditional approaches, but it lays the groundwork of strong relationships between the church and the community, which opens the doors to reach whole communities with the gospel.
In several CIS countries, Christian-sponsored NGOs have implemented very successful development programs. But these organizations are closely scrutinized and restricted by governments and are very limited in what they can do in terms of spiritual ministry. In one country, 200 NGOs, including many charitable and development organizations, have been shut down in the past couple of years. Churches, on the other hand, will continue to exist and to minister under any conditions, and they do not have the same government restrictions on the spiritual side of ministry that NGOs have.
Churches in the CIS, as a rule, have very limited financial resources. Many meet in apartments or rent meeting space because they don't own a building. Others have bought a run-down building or house and renovated over the years as they get more funds. CHE is human resource intensive, but does not require large amounts of material or financial resources, so CHE is well suited to the situation of churches in the CIS.
In order to help local church leaders understand and implement CHE, we have developed SALT and Light Training, or SALT. SALT helps church leaders impart the vision for CHE to their members and mobilize members for ministry to their community. SALT uses participatory teaching methods to show church members how to minister to those around them in practical ways. This opens many doors for deepening relationships and sharing the gospel with friends, neighbors, and co-workers.
Seed projects are an important part of SALT, small, low-cost projects that show the community that Christians care and want to meet needs. God works in awesome ways through these simple projects to strengthen relationships between the church and the community and to open doors for the gospel.
We do not teach SALT lessons in churches. Our role is to train committed church members to facilitate the lessons. These leaders, in turn, teach the lessons to their churches. This approach develops many strong church leaders who can go on to lead their churches in starting CHE programs in their communities and also help other churches implement SALT.